cool thing about the United States is you could actually be safe, not put in jail for actually plotting to overthrow the process of elections. You can actually be safe, not put in jail for openly planning with you and your friends for this thing to fall apart. And you're not going to get put in jail today. Today, that's the case. But there is a candidate who plans to put people or have some retaliatory action towards people who were against him. That would be the Republican nominee for president, Donald Trump, who actually has been president before and has already lost once. And now he's at it again, trying to win. Because, you know, the GOP is spineless and they didn't have any other candidates. But they didn't want to risk potentially having their party fragmented into pieces because they moved against the guy who has open white supremacists supporting him, foreign governments supporting him, and every criminal you can find supporting him. Oh, and they just released tapes of him of one of the most notorious pedophiles, Jeffrey Epstein, talking about they was best friends.
Oh, that's weird. Because a lot of times people like to accuse the Democrats and everybody, all the quote leftist elite, of being a part of things.
Oh, they was
like
all
that.
yeah. The leftist elite was all at the Diddy party, and Donald Trump was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein.
Got it. Okay.
But that's a non-story, Rosenberg. That's a non-story. They're not running that one up the flagpole.
By the way, those are also not equal things. Just to be clear. Because Diddy parties were all the public Diddy parties that people went to were just parties. Being friends with Jeffrey Epstein, I'm not saying he didn't just have parties also, but even being in his orbit is a little different. Just putting that out there.
It is different, but I'm just letting you know what's being said. But all of this sounds like this big button right here on this election.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
If you're not getting out there and voting. And I'll just say it again. I believe what people intend to do when they get in the office. Whether or not they'll be able to accomplish it, a different thing. So, I believe that they want to get rid of the Department of Education if Trump wins. I believe that they want to mass deport somewhere close to 20 million people, which would be 1 million people in Florida, by the way. I believe they want to do that. I believe when they say that people who support Donald Trump are actively planning large military encampments right now so that they can have deportation encampments. I believe that. And then you also got to know if you believe that mass deportation can happen or deportation of any kind can happen under Donald Trump. You got to know that there are people married to people who don't have their papers. They coming in your house. And they're going to be questioning everybody, even people who was born here that ain't got their papers yet. So that's what's partly on the ballot today. That's before you get to the fact that women are just trying to have a choice over their bodies today.
And you didn't even mention, sorry, neither of you, we haven't mentioned yet today, the Supreme Court justices, too.
That's before you get to the fact that do you want the host of The Apprentice to be responsible for putting potentially 5 Supreme Court justices on the bench before it's all said and done?
You're saying that's maybe not what you want?
I'm guessing that's not what you want. But maybe it is what you want. And that's why you live in the United States, because you have a choice to go out there and vote or not vote. But if you're not voting and you're complaining, you get this button.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
And if you are voting and you only vote in national elections and you don't vote in your local elections and you expect things around your way to be moving the way you want them to, and you don't vote in local elections, you get this button.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Because you do have to be engaged locally. It's very important.
You have to.
Whether it's Trump or Kamala, they are not coming into your neighborhood to fix your problems. Your representatives in your neighborhoods are the ones that go to D.C. or go to the state level to speak on your behalf. Laura, what you got today?
Well, speaking of voting and intimidation, the Philadelphia District Attorney, Larry Krasner, he has a message. Because, we're in crazy times and folks are out here intimidating people. So this is a message from him to folks planning to intimidate local voters.
So I want people to be reassured that when they get up tomorrow to go vote, if they have not voted already, that everybody in the city is working and has been working for months to make sure that there will be nothing tough about that experience and nothing to fear in that experience. But I also want to be clear. Anybody who thinks it's time to play militia, F around and find out.
Yeah.
Anybody who thinks it's time to insult, to deride, to mistreat, to threaten people, F around and find out.
Yeah.
We do have the cuffs, we do have the jail cells, we do have the Philly juries, and we have the state prisons. So if you're going to try to turn an election into some form of coercion, if you're going to try to bully people, bully votes or voters, you're going to try to erase votes, you're going to try any of that nonsense, we're not playing. F around and find out.
Congratulations.
3.
You played yourself.
I guess he wants somebody to F around and find out.
Yo, I mean, he just wanted to make sure he was clear.
We gotta spend some time, man. I know we talked about last week. We joked about the people who are at the election sites taking people's votes. You know, the older ladies that come out and they spend their whole year planning for this day. You know what I'm saying? Retired folks. But also, like, I saw a documentary about this man. He's the supervisor of a county in Arizona who literally, like, all his friends and everyone turned against him because he was just doing his job of upholding the law, and they wanted him to turn the election over to Donald Trump. But he was like, that Donald Trump didn't win the election here. Like, that's not who got the most votes. Like, we counted the votes. We have a system. He didn't win. And, like, friends, family members, the whole county, like, turned against him because he's the supervisor of the county.
And he wouldn't cheat.
And he wouldn't cheat. And so I just want to salute, you know, all the people out there that got to do that tough work. You know what I mean? Whether it's at the NYPD level, at the state police level, at the election board level, whatever level it's at, you know, y'all trying to keep people safe at a time where people are really emotional. You need to get saluted. You know what I mean? Because we don't know what today going to be like for a lot of people.
And in keeping in that theme, as we sit here on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, and I tried over the last 4 months. I've tried, not with mixed levels of success.
Nah, you've been good, bro. You get an A++.
So, yeah, coming from you, does that? Because you don't have an A+. I don't know if that review
I failed.
counts.
I've failed multiple times. So if we can only grade based on what we have going on right here.
That's true. Relative to you, I guess I did pretty good. So over the last several months, I've tried to make my approach less about judgment and calling people names, and more about presenting my case for why there's a clear choice on who to vote for today. And the reason I was proud to cast my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz is not because I'm some super fan of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I think they both seem like qualified, fine, decent people. And that is the main reason that they earned my vote. They seem like qualified, intelligent, decent people. People with decorum. People who, most importantly, this part's crazy, Ebro, buckle up, want to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America.
Wild. Crazy.
And so I'm not here to name call if you're thinking about doing something different. But if you saw what happened last time this whole thing ended, and you heard the words from the former president about trying to find votes, trying to put pressure on Mike Pence to go against his duty as vice president and count the votes. If you, at this stage, don't see that as the reason that you could not pull the lever, meaning you don't care about the democracy that much. Like, literally, we're talking about the basics that even if you believe in the forefathers, the one thing, Ebro, we all agreed on. We got lots of problems with the forefathers, sure. But there's one beautiful thing about this nation, that whole democracy thing. This guy blatantly, outwardly fought against that and has told us, if you get me in there again, you'll never have to vote again.
Yo, he said that, bro.
He has said that in this election. And if knowing all of that stuff, because of taxes, because of, quote, immigration and a, quote, migrant crisis, because of gun rights, whatever your reason is, if that allows you to look over the sanctity of the democracy and you plan to pull that lever today for the former president, hold this button.
Congratulations, you played yourself.